Hello everyone and welcome back to the Brightworks. Today taking a look at Bismuth Valley, one of the fan favorites, one of my favorites, and I absolutely love to see this map. Wanted to jump in here right in the beginning and see what these players are going to get up to, see where they're going to pick their starting spots. I guess we can skip ahead and we'll get right into this game. So let's meet our players, shall we? Spawning on the eastern side, we have Prime, R, maybe Primer. We've seen him in a couple other games so far, and I can't wait to see what they're going to show for us here in the very middle of Bismuth Valley. Definitely going to be a really, really fun one. Spawning on the western side, representing our red team. Red team leader, we have Foggy 12. Foggy 12 we've also seen in some of these games, and you might notice, if you're an avid viewer of this channel, you might notice that a lot of these names are familiar, and that's just one of the perks of the community of this game being so small. I mean, it's hard to say that, right? Like when I first started playing this game, which was not very long ago, mind you. I'm not nearly as old into this community as a lot of the members are. But when I first started playing this game, there was like an active maybe 100 people or so. And yeah, at any given time, there would maybe be one or two servers that were full or near full, and you could play a game on. Nowadays, of course, there's hundreds of servers that are, well, maybe not hundreds. There's many servers that are all full all the time that you can watch some games or play some games on, and that's just wonderful to see. But it also means that we get to meet a whole lot of really talented players. Players like Foggy 12 or Prime R, or even some of the other players on these teams here, but I'm really excited to see what they go for. On the low ground here, we're going for some vehicle labs, and I think that's a really good idea. We've got Prime R, and oh, this is interesting. We're going for air back here. Revile's going to be starting off with an air lab, and we can see the main problem with that, of course, is that it's very energy intensive. So indeed, we are going to have to build a lot of windmills, a lot relative to, how early we usually see a lot of windmills come up. In order to keep up that wind production to build some air units. Prime R is also going to have their work cut out for them because, yeah, they're going to be up against two players versus one, and both of the players they're up against are going to be going vehicles. So that's going to be a really tough fight. But if anybody can do it, it's definitely going to be our top player here. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that maybe this ends up becoming a really interesting strategy. Really excited to see what happens here. We do see some ticks out on the field, so congratulations to Yazel for getting these ticks out and about and on the field, ready to harass down the enemies here. Looks like the ticks have gone to their parking lot here, ready to move out and start harassing. Pregor, I'm not sure if he saw the tick or just being cautious to build a light laser turret here. It looks like we're just proceeding with caution. Redundant caution here. Oh, I think this tick is stuck. Oh, poor boy. He got a little bit stuck there, didn't? Whoa. Sorry about that. Not sure what just happened there. Anyway, looks like one of the ticks managed to sneak past the defenses here and is going to find a metal extractor across the map. This is Yuzel's lane partner. One of them, I just noticed there's something a bit odd going on here. We have a player back here. Yeah, this is really odd. Messin should definitely be down here and pushing this lane forward, but instead they've gone up here. So a little bit of an odd positionality. And now this tick is definitely going to have a feast as it eats some of these metal extractors. This would definitely be a great time to self-destruct with your metal extractors. Because if you don't, this tick is going to get so much damage done. I mean, look, it's killed 2 metal extractors and it'll probably kill at least one more. The explosion does take it out, so it goes down, but 3 metal extractors where you could have just detonated one of them. Killed the tick and saved the other 2. But again, that's a proper high-level decision. Really, really hard to make that one because how could you know? Maybe there's defenses on the way. Maybe there's some other thing to account for. So that's a really proper high-level decision. Is the music loud? I feel like the music's a little loud. I'm gonna turn that down for just a second here so I can listen to this game in all of its glory. I wanted to, in the early stage of this game, just before things get too heated, I wanted to play with the camera controls here. Make sure that things weren't messed up. Okay, that looks normal. Let me just double check the key bindings here. Sorry about this. Unprofessional, I know. Grid keys, right. Grid control keys. No, that's not it. Alt keys, control keys. There we go. Yeah, okay, left control. Interesting. Okay, and then okay, that's that camera, and then we have this mode, which is the fun FPV mode where we can look at these units in detail. Get kind of a weird top-down perspective. That one's a little jarring and too much quantity. I think I'm gonna stick to the regular camera for a little while here. Anyway, we see some blitzes pushing forward. Really common on this map. Common on any big flat map to see these blitzes come out. They're really difficult to deal with. You need something fast and light in order to mop them up. Otherwise, they can just run all the way back to your drive, I guess I should say. Drive all the way back to your backline and cause, yeah, quite a lot of damage. Wow. Even baiting a rocket launcher to shoot its own constructor. How devastating. Looks like these will go down, but they destroyed a construction bot and a upcoming geothermal plant. So I think they have well paid for themselves by now. Nem's pushing forward here. These blitzes get a full surround, meaning they're going to do a tremendous amount of damage. Oh, triple comm kill right there. Absolutely wonderful. Nems takes down 2 commanders in its own death explosion, catches them just a little bit too close together. That is going to be 3 commanders lying on the field right then and there. If we turn to our metal perspective viewer... Oh, are we going to see it? Oh, that's a bit odd. We should have the reclaim field highlights. Ah, there we go. Yeah, you can see just how much metal is tied up in this field here. 6.1k, and almost all of that is going to be the commanders. 6.2 now as a couple more bodies join the field. But yeah, that is going to be an excellent spike of metal here for the red team. They definitely need to find a way to spend their metal. Everyone is E-stalling except for Foggy 12. And it looks like, yeah, we basically need to pump all of this metal into infrastructure, otherwise a lot of it is actually just going to be wasted, and that would be a damn shame. Jumpkey has done a phenomenal job down here. This is that incongruity on this map that I sometimes point out here, that I like to point out. When you play this map, there's kind of 2 options. You can either put 2 players up north, and then 1 in this middle section here, or you can put 1 up north and 2 down here. And so in this game, it looks like we've basically gone for 2 up north and 1 down south. However, getting those comm snipes is absolutely massive, because it does mean that the pressure up here is going to be relieved tremendously on the 1 remaining commander that has to hold this area. Very nicely done. Really good stuff. I love the commander moving in here to hold this area. We're throwing units at the commander, but you know, the longer this commander is here, the more metal is just getting eaten up more and more. So even if this commander goes down, it's already paid for itself several times over here. You can see the metal is full for every single player here on the red team. Yeah, everyone should have a tremendous amount of metal. Look at all the units being pumped out for the red team, and indeed the front line is marching forward. This is a tremendous advantage. This is a huge advantage. Messine? We'll call you Messine. That sounds a little bit nicer. Messine here has gone for a very greedy strategy, not contributing to the front line, leaving it essentially exposed to the entire team here, entire blue team that is. And they've gone straight to Tech 2, and we do have sumos coming out on the battlefield, but we don't have the build power for them. I would love to see some construction turrets set up. That would definitely be nice. At the very least, assisting with the bot. What are we going to do here? Construction turrets. Very nice. Absolutely think that's a great idea here. And yeah, the red team has a great lead. I don't know what more to say about that. They've really taken a really good position here. We're starting to fortify, but all these laser turrets are in range of the metal points here, as you can see like that. You can see with these denying the metal here, that's going to be a tremendous advantage to the red team. Tremendous economy advantage. Rocketeers working on this twin guard here. Twin guards can outrange the Rocketeers by just a little bit. 480 range. Rocketeers at 475. It's almost equal range, but by a technicality, the Twin Guard does outrange them. It's only the top laser turret of the Twin Guard that outranges them, though. Looks like this commander did go down over here. I missed it, but we can see the wreckage here, so we can understand what happened. The commander must have gone down to blitzes or artillery or some other piece that was pushed to the front here. And so that metal is also going to be lying in the wreckage field. If we pop this on, we can see, yep, 3,500 metal. More than enough to tech up to T2, and I think I'd expect that at this point. We are solving our metal crises. Or a strategy that I've been going for recently that I've really started to enjoy is just putting 1 construction bot on advanced solar collectors. Just have it go build advanced solar collectors off on the side, and it typically tends to do a pretty good job. It takes a couple minutes. I think it's like 2.5 minutes for every advanced solar collector. But if you just have that running passively in the background, it really doesn't drain your economy too much, and it can allow you to step up your economy in a nice little jump right around the time that you're ready to collect a bunch of metal off the front lines. It's been working really, really nicely for me. At this point, enough blitzes are actually mounted here to cause a little bit of trouble, although they are scuffed up, and indeed 2 of them will go down to a single rocket, a 3rd one likely on the way from this thug, and a bunch of them are taken down. Now there's still 3 blitzes left. Ooh, and some bots here reclaiming part of this wreck field for Jump K, which is actually going to be really, really important because a lot of this metal already went back to the red team, so as much as we possibly can get out of this field needs to go back to the blue if we want any hope of stabilizing this game here. The sumo bot on the front line is really nice. It provides just a huge amount of tanking quality. You can see almost 5,000 health here. And it looks like they have... I'm not sure what the modifiers mean. I think that's how much damage they do against those things. But the point being that these are extremely, extremely tanky units. So you can put them on the front line, and you basically don't have to worry about static defenses. They are the mobile static defense. Starting to overwhelm the defenses back here, which is a little bit scary because this is an all-access pass down to Blue's base, Purple's base, Green's base. Basically, the entire southern part of the team is going to be relying on the hold here, and these units have already broken through. Interestingly, we see 2 Techers come out. Usually, we see 0, so that is a huge difference as opposed to the red team, which was all frontline. Now, wow, units have broken all the way through to the Salmon player's base here. Yeah, these tanks are looking really healthy, and they've gotten all the way into the base. Surely going to take out a whole lot of this economy, maybe even the production facilities here. Yep, the blitzes are taking down the construction turrets. The metal extractors go down next. The tanks are already in the back line. This is not looking good at all for the Salmon player. We're going to have to see a rally from the team if we want to mount a defense against this. We're seeing a complete swing here. You can see the northern side is losing and the southern side is losing here. We do see some Sheldon out. Those are very, very nice, but there's so many units. I wonder if it's going to be too many. This is all T1 though. T1, we all know T1 is much less efficient than T2, so it's possible that this could be a bit of a problem here. Gunships in the air too, not bad. They don't do a tremendous amount of DPS, but I don't mind them for a defensive sort of a position here. There's no anti-air. There's not. I mean, it's just free damage, right? It's hard to argue with free damage. It's not going to kill any of these at lightning speed, but it's certainly going to put out enough damage per second to dissuade any of them from pushing in too much further. Anti-air is starting to scuff up these gunships pretty badly. You can see those little rockets firing every once in a while, but these T2 are pretty tanky, and these light anti-air, yeah, they don't do a whole lot. One of the gunships does go down eventually. The other one looks like these are just committed for the rest of their lives here. The units coming out of purple are now finally making it up to the front line. The sumos are moving into position. The sumo, I should say. Looks like the other one must have gone down somewhere around here. But the sumo that remains here is going to serve as the front line with some Sheldons and even an Arbiter for fire support. So that's really nice. Up north, looks like we are actually stabilizing. Although we don't nearly have enough units to counter the army here. Maybe if they were in a right proper position, really perfect formation, maybe they could do. But you know, I doubt it. I doubt we're going to see it. There's also not a lot of room for that. Not a lot of room or time. These blitzes are so tremendously fast. What's going on down here? It looks like a big old fight. Prigor is moving forward. Yeah, I don't hate the commander moving in there. Either the commander dies and explodes. Yep, just like that. I would have loved to see the commander explode over here so it didn't kill most of their own units, but that's trade-offs. We take what we can get. Wow, look at those agitators here firing into the crowd of Rocketeers and doing so much damage. It's not that the agitators are alone completely devastating to those Rocketeers. They do a lot of damage, but they're not the worst. It's the fact that they bring them low enough that just a few Sheldon shots can quickly dismantle the rest of those Rocketeers. That's the real threat here, right? Is that those Sheldons can lob infinite missiles from far away. Infinite little condensed matter projectiles. Yeah, we're starting to tear apart this static defense line. Sheldon, the Arbiter, even sending in some missiles from long range. Very nice to see. Jumpkey working to push through this middle section. Somehow secured a commander kill right in the middle of the map. That's very nice to see. Going to be eating up a whole lot of metal off of that. That's always very nice. Looks like blitzes are starting to run by. We do see some fiends out though. Fiends are pretty good against blitzes. All things considered, they run right next to a commander, and excellent deacon. Yep. And the blitz push is no more, at least the green one. The blue one is still well underway here. Although there is lots of twin guards, and those twin guards are pretty good against big spams of units like this. So they might not kill them all, but they're definitely going to scratch all of their paint right off. Up north, things are looking really dire, though. All the economy is completely trashed for the Salmon player. Left with only a production facility to their name, no bot lab left, so they can't even resurrect. Things are looking pretty bad for that player. We're going to have to see a huge commitment of resources from the other teammates if we're going to keep that player alive and in the game. Mammoth is out moving towards the front line. It gets surrounded by a bunch of tanks, but I think the Mammoth wins this. They're just so tanky, ironically, right? The Mammoth is firing into these tanks, and it only takes a couple shots from this Mammoth in order to burn down each and every one of these tanks. Blue tanks are moving in here too. They do catch a few of these artillery pieces off guard, which is quite nice. Jarrate has also moved the commander forward. We're not degunning anything though, which is a little odd. There we go. That was a nice degun. Caught like 4 or 5 tanks there with that one. That was really, really nice. Commander looking pretty bad though. 15%. 14, 13, 7, and the commander goes down. That is going to be Yellow's commander down pretty far forward, actually. That's a really far up on their front line there. We do have this forward vehicle lab pumping out a whole bunch of these T1 vehicles, so that's kind of nice. Arbiter, I'm not sure. Ah, there it is. Arbiter firing missiles from a long range. I'd love to see it target this facility, but we probably don't have vision of that quite at the moment. Couple of hounds jump on top of some Sheldon. Not really a trade that's ever supposed to happen, but when it does, you're always really thankful for it because those Sheldon can be quite a pain. Very difficult to deal with. The Mammoth has finally made it to the front lines. Purple has just been steadily upgrading their economy, which is really nicely done. It's very easy to oversight that, forget about it, and eventually you're accidentally not contributing enough to the front lines, and suddenly things are falling apart. But I'm really surprised with exactly how effective this has been. Wow, the red team has mounted a sturdy defense up here. We've got fiends, we've got a ton of grunts with rocketeers, or aggravators rather, sorry. Thugs as well. All the T1 spam in the world going up against these medium tanks, and I don't think they're going to be enough. Yeah, the tanks are forced to retreat, although these lightning turrets are quite nice. Those definitely can put out a lot of firepower, especially against big spams of units. And I'm torn between what I want to watch here. This front right here is really nice. I'd love to see these reclaim bots out and working very hard, getting all this metal lapped up. You can see 2,500 metal. Very, very nice. Very, very important. You can see over here as well, there's another fight going on. These tanks have jumped on top of the sort of siege units, the siege assault unit composition up here. But yeah, these tanks are going to have to run for their treaded lives because there's not a whole lot left for them to protect. Construction turret goes down, the fiends jump into the fight, and those fiends are going to put out so much damage. Yeah, nothing is going to be able to push through that, none of these vehicles anyway. We now have a really devastating row of fiends up there, red, dedicating all of their attention, at least at the moment, up to the northern section of the map. This area has been well fortified, and so we're going to be leaving that be, and just focusing on repelling the northern assault. Foggy 12 being sure to rebuild all the metal extractors, which is also really nice. Love to see that. It's really easy to forget to do that, and then suddenly you're missing an extra, yeah, I don't know, 50 metal per second, 20-ish metal per second, 25 maybe. Tigers here. I almost said bulls. These are the Cortex variant, the Tiger. Faster fire rate, lower cost, a little bit less health. Sort of a more spammy unit than the bull counterpart here, but can definitely do a lot of work. Definitely a whole lot better than the T1 variant. I'd love to see these being brought out as a sort of a siege breaker, or rather as a defensive line breaker. A linebacker? Recluse spiders here being used as a siege option. That's interesting. We don't see that very often. Usually these are used for sort of some cheeky plays in ways where usually they're used to snipe things or climb over walls or do that sort of thing. These arbiters are also threatening here. They're making sure to always make their presence known. This vehicle app has been completely reduced to rubble, which means that no longer will production come out of that facility. So Yellow's entire production base is now moved all the way back to their main facility. Not the end of the world though, because we do have the T2 lab up and running. Really, really nicely done. Interesting. We're going to keep pumping out recluses. What's our unit queue here? We've got radar jammers, hounds. Oh, it's not a repeat queue. Is it a oh, now it's a repeat queue. Okay, we're just going for hounds at this point. We got some radar units, some jammers out. We've got the recluses on the front line. The recluses are tricky because they can definitely do a lot of damage, but they also suck at tracking units, so they're definitely a siege option. This is nice. The gunships found a relatively unprotected piece of forward outpost. I guess I'm trying to find the words here. They found an undefended part of the red line. They're just looking for weak targets here. They take out the T2 constructor. That's quite nice. Stop the forward progression of these advanced metal extractors. They are still getting chipped away by these light anti-air turrets. Yeah, the light anti-air doesn't do a whole lot to them, but it definitely can scratch them up pretty badly eventually. Do we have an anti-air response here? Oh, we have tons of anti-air response. We have tons of these SAM turrets popped up. Those are going to be more than enough to repel any of these invaders. More light anti-air is up and available now. It's definitely not enough, though. Yeah, indeed, it will go down to these gunships here. And these are well into the back lines. These could be quite a pain. Yeah, they're going to go after the construction turrets. I think that's definitely the right idea. Get that production down from this light pink player, and suddenly things are going to look really, really nice in your lane. At the very least, things are going to look really inconvenient for that player in their lane. The recluses are moving forward. We've got a big hound army moving forward here as well. We've got a compass and a smuggler, the radar and radar jammer bot, which is also quite nice. Going to allow these to fire at their absolute maximum distance, which is really, really nice. We've also got a spam of ticks coming out as well, which is going to allow these to, again, use that line of sight that they get to fire a bit more accurately here. Taking down the heavy laser turret, taking down the mammoth. All this damage on this mammoth for free is really, really nice. That's basically the big thing that mammoths contribute, is a lot of health to the battlefield. But if you can just take them down for free, any free damage on a mammoth is absolutely worth it. And indeed, the mammoth will go down. That was the main defense holding most of this together. A lot of this other stuff is just light defenses. We have some heavy laser turrets, but those are just outranged by all of these units here. And so I think this hound push is looking more and more devastating every second. We're going to start reclaiming off the mammoth wreckage. That's a good move. Certainly a good idea here. Agitators are starting to fire here as these thugs move in and grant a vision range here. Yep, that's really nice. Looks like the radar jammer was destroyed. You actually don't even need to destroy it, you just need to damage it in order for that to stop working. And it is, which means that is going to go down here. Recluses are still available, a few of them anyway. Yeah, the gunships are making a name for themselves. At this point, the northern half has been very well fortified here. We've got tons and tons of light laser defenses all over the place. Look at these lines of light laser turrets. Jomke being sure to reclaim off these front lines, and that's really nicely done. Very important here. If we take a look at the resource map for just a second, you can see, wow, 6,500 metal on all of this reclaim here. I have a feeling that most of that is actually up north in this section, this part of the map here. So very nice getting that reclaim out. It's definitely what you need to turn the tide of these really, really long games, especially once T2 comes out. That's basically your only comeback mechanic, is eating up the units that you do manage to kill. Really, really important. And these metal extractors were destroyed up here, which is unfortunate to see. I would love to see these rebuilt. Maybe that's what these guys are doing? No, they're going to be reclaiming. Just as well, reclaiming metal off the front lines, or even the back lines from units that got through in other pushes. Definitely going to be well worth it. Look at this firing right here, though. We have the hounds firing with the recluses in front. Yeah, that's a lot of damage packed into a very, very tight package here. Yeah, if those units are walking in a static line, the recluses can just about barely track them. Barely. You can see even these thugs they're struggling with at this range. But yeah, you get these near any sort of defensive structure, and they actually have a really sizable range. 600 range, as opposed to, let's say, a heavy laser turret with 620. So they can almost outrange the heavy laser turret. The heavy laser turret has a line of sight of 450, though, so without a radar or anything, the heavy laser turret couldn't even fire at the recluse. Yeah, the mammoth is a great target for these recluses. You can see they can track this thing no problem. I mean, it moves like a rock rolling uphill. Absolutely no speed at all. The Fiends move forward up north here. Glad I caught this right in the last second. Looks like a bunch of these tanks went down, stood their ground, but they lost to the flames that engulfed them, as more of these T2 tanks, or T1 tanks rather, have to run for their lives. Quite a lot of trouble here. These Fiends are looking pretty healthy. And all of this is very expensive too. This whole army of T1 tanks is really, really expensive. For the value that you're getting to kill one Fiend with 6 T1 medium tanks, yeah, that's a very inefficient trade here. Things are not going to look very good if you have to keep that fight up much longer, and I would definitely love to see a tech transition here at some point. What are our backliners going for? Reviles is going for a advanced fusion reactor. We're also going for Hornets. We're kind of spread out. We're going for a little bit of everything, and I think that means we're going to get a little bit of nothing here for a while. That's one of the tricks to bar, is if you want to scale, you really want to scale your economy or your army, but you don't want to do both at the same time, because you end up in sort of the same situation. You can see Messin is in here, where you now have a unit that's going to come out way slower than if it normally was going to come up, and you have a economy structure here that's going to come up way later than it would normally come up. And so both of these things are going to come up slower. Now that being said, we are actually stalling on build power here, so these construction turrets are quite nice. As far as Messin's case, we just have tons of metal, tons of energy, and not enough build power to spend it. So we're looking pretty good at the moment. Messin specifically in a decent position here. These Hounds and Recluses continue to push forward, though. The more I look at this, the more I wish these Recluses would just whoop. You know what I'm saying? Oh, are you gonna do it? Yeah, do it. Yes. I think I called this perfectly. Look at that, the Recluses are starting to go up. They're using that all-terrain ability here, and they're just gonna move into the back line as they properly should. Wipe that screen for you there. Yeah, you can see these Recluses are now up on this wall, and they can fire their rockets down on the unsuspecting victims here. Take out all those energy converters. Sure, why not? The Mammoth turns around, but it's way too late. The Recluses are already in the back line. They've already snuck past on the rock faces here. Really nicely done. Really good use of the Recluse there. It's a unit that we don't see a whole lot of, and it's a shame because it's a really powerful one here. Something went down right here. It looks like it was a commander for Yazel. Yazel's commander went down. We do have a bunch of bulls pushing forward here, and those are more than capable of sniping commander up north. Just want to check the progress here. Jumpkey has held control over this, but the metal extractors are still down, so not really a beneficial control, shall we say. Also just barely getting these T2 metal extractors up and running, so the economy is collapsing down there. But meanwhile, down south, this huge fight is continuing to rage on. The Mammoths are looking really, really scarce. We had 2, but now one of them has gone down and we're reduced to a single Mammoth, and with the weight of this army pushing against it, it is not going to stand up long. See 20% of its health melted away with every volley that's fired here, and these units fire quick. And down it goes. Another Mammoth is here on the front lines, but again, these are just pushing in one by one. I think this would look a whole lot better if we had multiple Mammoths saved up and we used them all at the same time here. Messin desperately trying to get this advanced fusion reactor up. We even have a commander here to try and do that. I would love to see the commander move forward, maybe to calm bomb this army right here. But Yazel doing a phenomenal job of making sure... Ooh, nuke stop midair. Yazel doing a phenomenal job of making sure to continue supplying this army with units on the front line, which is absolutely critical here. Oh, the Mammoth is getting hung up here by shooting at its former brethren, the corpse of its former brethren. And so all of those shots are completely wasted here. Meanwhile, the Hounds can continue to lob their projectiles, and so the Mammoth will join its brother in the grave. Bunch of static defenses here. A couple of pit bulls, heavy laser turrets, all sort of stuff just to stop a bunch of ticks. A little bit of overkill, but that's what we see all the time here. EMP bomber is out now, and I'd love to see this EMP bomber sent down south. Sent What a day. Yeah, EMP all this, that would be phenomenal. Then a Mammoth could definitely get to work here. Ooh, looks like a nuke did go down. Yeah, it must have been a nuke. Went down right there and collided. I think it wiped away a whole bunch of army units. But yeah, this push from down south. Send the EMP bomber quickly. Oh, this really hurts to see. We have the EMP bomber and we have it available. It's just chilling in our home base. Meanwhile, all of these hounds are continuing to shell away at our forces. If we look at the attack pattern on this EMP bomber, I mean, look at that. You could easily get every single one of these in a single EMP run. Oh, that really hurts to see. Underutilized resources. If you're going to go for that T2 air, you might as well use it properly. Really unfortunate to see. Another nuke was stopped mid-air. That's very nice. We're definitely getting... Wow, very early for a Ragnarok. I was going to say we're definitely getting that anti-nuke up nice and early. It's very good to see. This push is just encroaching more and more here. Oh, we found the advanced fusion reactor. Oh, that's beautiful. the spider has found the advanced fusion reactor. We're going to start sieging it with rockets. There's nothing to deal with this at the moment. Yeah, you got it. Just keep firing. The mammoths are trying, but they can't really hit anything up there. The rockets are colliding. We're down to 77% health. I think we're going to see it. I don't think there's an answer here. More rockets keep tumbling down here. We're desperately trying to repair this thing back up to full health. But we can out-damage it. Look at this mammoth trying desperately. 19%. 3%. 1%. Boom! And the base goes down. Absolutely epic. These spiders in such a phenomenal position here, and now all of the energy production from Messine is completely wiped away. Really, really nicely done with those rocket spiders, making sure to put those in just the right spot here. Oh, now the EMP bombers show up. Phenomenal. That's about a minute too late there with those EMP bombers. That's really unfortunate to see. Yeah, we're going to stun all this stuff too. Yeah, really, really poor airplay there. Unfortunate. Very nicely done by Yazel. That, I would consider that an elimination on this player here. Their production is sent back to the Stone Ages. We have the advanced the metal extractors here. The advanced metal extractor. I couldn't remember. I always think of the exploiter when I look at that. Wow, nuke landed right here. Wiped away a whole bunch of that army. A bunch of those bulls went down there. But yeah, now suddenly Purple, who's basically single-handedly keeping this lane alive anymore, is now reduced to a few mammoths that barely even have power to function here. Oh, a nuclear bomber is out now. That's very nice for wiping away army. We'll see if this thing can get any kind of dangerous effect here. Oh, maybe. What's it targeting? Ah, we're going after metal extractors. Okay. I'd love to see it sent back to the base. I feel like that might work a little bit better here. But maybe it'll be shut down. Wouldn't want that. But for some of these reclaim spiders, absolutely love to see those webbers pulled out and sent to the front line. I think they can definitely be really, really dangerous. You use them as sort of like a blanket force. I mean, I'll show you the way that I like to route them using these ticks here. If you imagine that these were webbers, what I would do is, say I was the orange player here, I would draw a line like this first, just so they spread out across the map. And then I would hold Shift and F to order a fight command. And then I would right-click and drag the other side of the map. And it would draw these lines, like all the way across the map like this. And any metal along that path that these take is going to do, it's gonna get picked up. And I think that's usually a really, really nice way to ensure that a lot of reclaim is happening without any really intensive micro. We are starting to resurrect this here. That's nice to see. We are trying to get back in this game here. Big props to Mezzin for holding on as long as they can. Things are looking pretty dire, though. That nuke that wiped away all that army down south was really, really important. Otherwise, that hold definitely couldn't have happened. We are finally up to T2 unit production up here, but there's still a lot of T1 that's been folded in. Are we on T2, or are we just resurrecting? Oh, we are not on T2. Okay, never mind. The blue player up north has been up on T2 now, but the green player has not teched up any ways. We're just going for economy over technology. So many feeds coming out of the red player here, and also this massive line of manticores. Really, really nice. It's going to be a pain to push into with a bunch of fighters. Not that there's any fighters to be spoken of here. The nuclear bomber is just laying down for a nap here. One of the most powerful units in the entire game, and it's just sitting here, chilling. Chilling, as it were. It gets up and decides to do its job, and it wipes away a big contingent of forces here. Very nicely done. Ooh, some Archangels have moved forward, though, and those do a tremendous amount of anti-air damage. And indeed, the nuclear bomber will go down. I'm not super impressed with this airplay at the moment here. I'm gonna have to do quite a bit more to impress me with it. Manticores and Archangels are gonna be more than enough to shoot down these nuclear bombers eventually here. Especially if the bomber isn't going to bomb them. Techs are just continuing to stream through though, and they're causing a tremendous amount of pain. Forcing these mammoths to friendly fire even on some of these metal containers here. Now, this mammoth's actually looking pretty bad. And it will go down to the tick stream. Wow. Yeah, produce a bunch of grunts. I think that's a way better idea. We can't really rely on these ticks. They're not, or on the mammoths rather. They don't hit their shots very often here. More nukes coming out here. Boom, and there, oh, that must have been a Cortex nuke. You see how huge that radius was. Jomke now in a whole lot of trouble. What was once a very secure defensive line has suddenly melted away in the flash of an atomic eye, as now the entire part of the map has caved here. This sort of light brown player here going to be able to cave on top of Jomke, maybe even get the commander kill. That would be quite nice. We're looking pretty low on commanders. The blue team is at 4, the red team is at 2. Again, these nuclear bombers, they're trying their very best, but yeah, it's just, is it enough? I really don't think so. Hornets are out too. These nuclear bombers can also scratch themselves up when they drop that bomb. They have to dive in real low. Or, well, actually, I don't know if they have to, but they do when they go in. They dive down really, really low. And I wonder if that's what's causing the problem. Anyways. Looks like more recluses were built and set up on this mountain here. Really nicely done. Some Mausers were able to arc their shots all the way up on top of this hill to try and take down some of these recluses. But it's pretty difficult for them. A lot of them are missing here. They have to get basically a perfect shot in order to hit the recluse spiders up here. And that's far from easy. This one still perfectly concealed over here. It will find a construction bot over here. We'll be able to hit it though. Apparently not. Bulls here to stop this push from coming in too much further. That's very nice here. Primar doing their very best to keep this entire front row in line. But that's a huge amount of Tigers moving towards their base. I don't know if there's enough here to hold. That's a good amount of Mauser. It's 4 Mauser with 2 Bulls. Definitely do a whole lot of damage, but if there's one thing these Tigers are good at, it's being tanky. Now, good EMP bombers here. I like that quite a lot. Commander goes down, and that's really unfortunate. Goes down right next to the advanced fusion reactor we were building, which means that project is going to be abandoned. And the Tigers get into the production means here. Yeah, Primar decides to tap out at this point, realizes with these tanks in his main base, there's not a whole lot that they can do. And now the Tigers are going to start working on this anti-nuke system right here. Now luckily some EMP bombers are finally brought to the front and they are going to shut all of this down. In fact, the player controlling the bombers is now in charge of the ground army as well. Well, I'll be damned, he actually got the Ragnarok up and running. Can it shoot anything? Well, I suppose it could shoot at these little fortified centers in the middle here. It could maybe shoot up north here. Can it shoot at anything else? Well, not really. I'm not entirely convinced that this Ragnarok is going to be worth it, and especially considering we can't even power it, really. I think you need... It's 12,000 energy per shot in order to fire this thing, which means you basically need 12,000 energy a second. And if each of these advanced geothermal, or rather advanced fusion reactors produces 3, by my calculation, you would need 4 advanced fusion reactors in order to power a Ragnarok. And yeah, we're nowhere near that. Especially with 2 nuclear launchers as well. You can see the energy drain is tremendous. Oh man, yeah, we can't even fire at anything important because I doubt we have the vision for it. Oh, well, we know that this base is here. Why aren't we firing into this? Weaken up all this defensive, posturing right here so that we can start pushing into this with tanks. Really unfortunate. Reviles is looking for the opportunity here. We can see the units moving forward, trying their very best. Yeah, the EMP bombers go down. There's a bunch of regular bombers. The hailstorms here, very nicely done. Yeah, really good stuff. Breaking this front line where the Ragnarok should have, as soon as it was built. There's the Ragnarok firing into this now. A couple of these shots are eventually going to hit this mountain. That's alright. For the most part, we're just concerned with tearing this base down, which, for what it's worth, is going pretty well. There's no fighter screen for the red team here, so aerial supremacy is handed steadily over to Reviles here. Messin is still fighting desperately for their lives, where a single Juno could have spared them from this pain. One well-placed Juno could shut down the entire production line here, or at least turn it into a bunch of pawns, which is going to be way more costly. But no, instead we're choosing to fight this the man's way. We're going to be building grunts, we're going to be building tanks, we're going to be building whatever we can here. The advanced fusion reactor was brought back online, and so we're just going to continue spamming out units. I don't hate that, per se. I just think it's definitely not the most cost-effective way to deal with this problem. Oh, especially when bombers come in and start tearing down all the friendly forces. Oh no. Oh, if you haven't seen the video, what was that one called? There's a video I have out a little while back about ticks running into the back line. I think it was called Fear the Tick or something. Or This is Why You Should Fear the Tick. Go check that one out, because that's a good example of why these bombers can be so devastating to a tick run by. Yeah, this Air Force is not sure where it should be dedicating its attention. Really, it needs to be everywhere all at once. This push down south is just continuing to grow in strength here. More and more recluses are brought out. They're going to go back up on top of this mountain, and that fusion reactor is right back where it was. Oh yeah, fusion reactor's in trouble again. 6%, 4-1, and it goes down again. Oh, that's so frustrating as the purple player here. Try so hard as you might, your base continues to be ravaged by a bunch of rocket spiders climbing up on top of your hill. Really, really dangerous stuff. This Ragnarok, as impressive as the Ragnarok is, it just can't do much back here, and you can see the energy drain is just tremendous. Going for nukes and a Ragnarok is definitely kind of too many eggs in one basket. Kind of, that's not the right saying, is it? It's investing too much all over the place and not specifying anywhere really, really important. And basically what you end up with is none of those are going to be under optimal power here. This area was devastated pretty thoroughly, but now there's some resbots out on the front line to patch it all back up and put it back together again. More gunships out, and they're nice and clumped up together, so anti-air is going to have a wonderful time shooting all those down. Indeed it will. The rain of the gunships, absolutely phenomenal. Ooh, look at all those. They almost suicide bombed that T1 lab down. But unfortunately, their light aerial frames were not thick enough to bomb down that area with their corpses. A lot of these tanks and recluses and hounds are pushing through. Whoa, some bombers come over here. Looks like it looks like some ticks managed to run into this base, and the bombers bombed their own base. Reviles choosing to use bombers against tick. That's a lesson you only have to learn once. Do not bomb ticks. It's not a good solution. You're just going to end up bombing your own stuff. At this point, the south is almost entirely caved here. Revile's still in the game, but it might just be because they don't know about the resign button up here in the top right-hand corner. Rocket Spiders continuing to be a menace. Tanks pushing forward. These are just T1 medium tanks, but they're better than nothing here as they just keep moving forward to tear down some of this air defense. They find the nuclear launcher here, or rather the anti-nuke system, anti-nuclear launcher. That'd be a nice little snipe because it would allow you to just quickly wipe away this base. Everything but the Ragnarok would go up with a single nuke, and I think these advanced fusion reactors would probably take down the Ragnarok after the nuke landed. So yeah, very nicely done. This is great. We're just gonna focus down the advanced fusion reactor. No reason to waste time. Just get right to the chase here. Many ticks wasting this base away. Oh, the Ragnarok still stands. Very nice. No power, so it's not like it's gonna be able to shoot anytime soon. There's not even enough energy storage to charge up a single shot. So yeah, despite having possibly the most powerful static defense in the entire game, we cannot use it. Really, really unfortunate to see. Shiva are now in the back line, Fiends are in the back line, and the blue team is completely toast. Really well done. Really good pressure put on by Yazel here. Really nice use of those rocket spiders, bringing out a really good case for why those are important, why you can use them effectively. Not one we see too often, but really fun to see those used in an interesting and creative way here. Yeah, the economy structures are falling one by one. The red forces, the pink forces, the yellow forces, the orange forces, they're all caving in, and the blue team finally taps out. What an epic match. That was really fun to see. I always love to watch some spiders in action. It was a really good one. If you enjoyed this game, as always, feel free to leave a like down below. But even more importantly, what I care about more is leaving a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you guys about every one of these videos, even if I don't have time to respond to all of them as this channel continues to grow and grow. Having a harder and harder time keeping up with all the wonderful comments that I get down there. But I will try my very best. I at the very least get to read them all. And I hope you have a phenomenal rest of your day. I'll see you in the next video.